Where are we looking? We're going to start with Sydney.
Calling all of my...
Wait. Are we live? My bad. Welcome to live podcasting, everybody.
Calling all of my sorors. Calling all of my sigma sorors. Calling all of my sorors. Calling all of my sigma sorors. Stands were hot, but we made it. Sigma Gamma Rho. Have you heard of a city where the streets are pink and green? Have you heard of a city where the streets are pink and green? Have you heard of a city where the streets are pink and green? And the name of the city is AK. Good evening and welcome to Dana Being Dana. I am your host, Dana Michelle, and we are in these Greek streets, everybody. How is everybody doing? I am a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, but I am here tonight with my friends, and we are all a part of the Pan-Hellenic Council, and we are the Divine Nine. Welcome to the Divine Nine show. And so I would like to introduce you to everybody. Wednesday is the new Friday in these Greek streets. Wednesday is a new Friday, so I don't know what Thursday is going to be looking like. But we are here to talk about Black Greek life. We've got a huge surprise for you coming up near the end of the show. So please stay tuned, stay with us. We're going to be talking about Black Greek life. So we're going to start off with some introductions. My line name was Miss Melody. That's why I was singing for y'all. And so everybody's going to tell you which organization they represent, where they pledged. Of course, I pledged at Mu Pi chapter, Spelman College. Shouts out to everybody out there from Spelman and Morehouse. And we'll start with you, all right. Dean Michelle.
Hello, I am Michelle Richardson. I pledged Lambda Iota chapter, Providence Citywide chapter of Brown University. And what else did you want to know?
Your line name, girl.
Oh, my line
What
name.
is your line name?
I just figured this out the other day. My line name was Weeping Willow, and it was because I could cry on a dime.
All right. Terry.
Hello, I am Dana's line sister from Sweet Mu Pi as well. I'm Spring 98 Sigma chapter, Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, Clark Atlanta University. My line name was Gadouji, so that means ghetto bougie.
Yes! Yes! And my Morehouse brother, Jason.
Good evening, podcast land. My name is Jason Keene. I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Xi Lambda chapter, spring 2015. That's here in Chicago, Illinois, and 06 to all the good brothers out there.
All right. Leslie.
Good evening. My name is Leslie Davis, and I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I pledged at Delta Chapter, that's right, Delta Chapter at the University of Iowa, fall 89. So I'll be 30 years in the sorority soon. DST line, The Untouchables was our ship, and I was per se on the line.
All right. Sydney.
Good evening. Sydney Galladay of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I was Sydney Stewart at the time, and I pledged in spring of 1995, and I was the deuce on my line. I'm a life member, 23 years, will be a Ruby member in July.
Sydney sang that song, didn't she? She sang that song.
University of Illinois, Delta Rho chapter.
All right. Chip.
Hello out there. I'm Theodore Chip Davis, proud member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, pledged at Sigma Omega chapter here in Chicago, Illinois, spring 92 Tenacious 10 was our line name, and I was the 8 dog, Mystical Q. Root.
8 dog. Cornelius.
What's good, everyone? As Miss Dana said, my name is Cornelius Moore, member of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated from the Untouchable Upsilon chapter. I pledge fall 99. I am the Captain Anchor Eruption.
All right. Lynn
Watkins Asiambi pledged fall of 1993 at Upsilon Xi, which is University of Wisconsin-Madison. Shout out to my Badgers. And my line name was Miss Break It Down.
Break it down. That's going to be on the sequel. Danielle.
My name is Danielle McCain. I am also Dana and Terry's line sister, Spring 98, Spelman College, and my line name is Sweet Pea, and not so on a bad day.
Chuck.
Hi, my name is Charles Asiambi. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. I pledged in the fall of 1992 at Lewis University. Shout out to all of those Lewis University Flyers out there. What else? I'm a captain. One spring of 1992, the best year.
All right.
Oh, and my line name, of course, I'm a laid back guy, Comatose.
So wait. We got Break It Down and we got Comatose. Stay tuned. Exactly. Because Break It Down has been breaking it down. All right. Jamil.
Hello, my name is Jamil Simmons. I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Spring 99, Atlanta chapter, which is the chapter in Atlanta, the city. Oh, my line name was X2. Can't tell you no more than that.
Well, all right. Miss Ashley.
My name is Ashley Weathers. Follow 5, Zion Crown chapter at Elon University. My cross with the Ionic Order. My line name was Demeter. And anything else we gotta say?
I think you're good.
Z5, my sorors.
All right. Ray.
I'm Ray Saleh, member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Pledged at Beta chapter, Lincoln University, the Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. First HBCU. That's right.
That's a real recognized. That's a little respect. That's a little respect right there. Absolutely. What's your line name, Ray?
Dr. Death, and I cannot divulge why.
Right? Oh, gee. Shannon.
Hi, my name is Shannon Fuller. I represent Finer Womanhood as a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I pledged Nu Delta chapter at University of Illinois in Champaign. My line name, I was the Deuce, and my line name was Deuce DJ MH, Dr. Jekyll, Miss Hyde.
Okay. Yes. Mel.
All right. Kappa, shoo-doo-be-doo-be, Kappa, shoo-doo-be-doo-be. Oh, what a wonderful frat. Hey, so I figured the women can sing, we can sing too, right?
Well, all right. Absolutely.
Listen, Kappas love to sing. So anyway, Mel Flowers pledged Kappa Alpha Psi at the Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois. I pledged in spring of '88, so I'm celebrating 30 years now with my shippies. One of 6. I was a captain on my line, Kappa Ship 6 of Diamonds. Line name, we actually go through different phases, so we have different names as well. But my line name was Mellow Nuke.
Mellow Nuke.
Very, very mellow.
Can you tell us what you have there? I see you got two
yes,
props.
some props, right?
What
We'll talk about
is
this
that?
later. Well, this is a cane. It's a Kappa cane, right? So typically, depending on what year you cross, that cane could be much larger, right? Of course, I think my mic went out. It's okay? Okay. Is it good? You hear me?
Yeah,
okay.
We live in these streets.
Right, but typically we use these to step with, but obviously they have a different meaning as well. Back in the 40s, of course, the canes didn't have hooks. They were straight. And typically, you know, the brothers wearing tuxedos would always have canes and top hats, though. But there's also other symbolism behind it as well.
Keeping it classy.
That's what we
Is
do.
that what the Kappas
That's
are
what
doing?
The Kappas do.
That's
what we do.
In these Greek streets.
Yes. So typically known as either pretty boys, or in this region, you're either a pretty boy or an animal.
A pretty boy or an animal?
Or an animal.
Which one are you, Mel?
I'm actually an animal.
Ooh-wee! Watch out now.
No doubt.
What else did you bring?
And also
for show and tell?
Just basically a line paddle. This here basically represents the
Can
chapter.
you take it out of the protective
sure,
covering?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm
It's
just
about
saying.
education.
I'm just saying.
This one is more of a prop paddle, no doubt. But anyway, it shows the chapter, the year I crossed, the name of my line, my name as well. So you can see there's Captain Mello, but also you can see Dog One. Again, that's a totally different. I'm sure my brother over here understands that right here, right? Kappa Alpha Psi 1911. So I share that with my brother over here, 1911. And number one, that was my position online from the beginning to the end. So I was a captain.
Okay. So the paddles are very familiar in the Black Greek life, right? We're all very familiar with those. Rick, my brother.
So my name, Rick Lockhart, representing, and since I'm rounding out this family, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, the one and only constitutionally bound organization of brother and sisterhood. The full name being Zeta Phi Beta Sigma, but Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, crossed at Epsilon Pi, spring 2000, representing for all my Deuce clubs here. We got a lot of Deuce clubs representing Deuce clubs. My line name, crossing with the ship of SS Clear and Present Danger, I was, because we, and I'm gonna divulge it, we crossed under an eclipse. I was Total Blackout.
Total Blackout. All right. So first of all, I want to shout out our sponsors for the evening. We've got GH Private Wealth Management. They are at 800-558-9769. And this show is also sponsored by The Weather, theweather.com. And finally, last but not least, is the T-Shirt King. And on the phone, we have the T-Shirt King. Chris, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can y'all hear me, everybody?
Yes, we can.
Well, I'm Chris Evans. I played fall of 95 as head of U.S. Georgia State, but I'm also repping Beta Lambda chapter in Kansas City, Missouri graduate chapter. We will be celebrating 100 years as a grad chapter next year. So hold tight. We got a challenge, Dan, and I got a challenge for you guys later on in the show.
All right. So we are about to get started. But before we reveal the challenge and we talk more about the challenge, I want to just give a brief history of each organization. And we're going to start in order. Perfect. So the first organization, keep that here. The first organization is Alpha Phi Alpha, and from 1906. Jason?
That's correct. You know, it's always good to be first. You know, just a little lesson
Here we
for
go.
everybody. But Dana wanted us to give just a little bit of history. So it was an ice cold Tuesday, December 4th, 1906, on the campus of Cornell University. 7 distinguished men, we call them Jewels, the 7 Jewels, founded Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Cornell University.
All right.
06.
And without further ado, the first sorority, the first
and the finest
sorority,
and the finest.
Here we go. Danielle, enlighten us, please. Educate the group and the viewers.
The illustrious.
All right.
Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was founded in 1908 at Howard University. We have 20 founders known as our 20 Earls.
All right.
Ski-wee.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a good night. We can just drop the mic. Just playing. Kappa Alpha Psi.
All right, Kappa
Mel?
Alpha Psi. Okay, so founded January 5th, 1911 on the campus of University of Indiana, or IU, and no doubt, 10 esteemed founders. Initially, they were at school at Howard University, as a matter of fact, and of course, left Howard to basically found the fraternity, to be the first Black fraternity founded on a predominantly white university, and still, of course, the first to be founded on the campus of Indiana University. The organization was founded predominantly to actually protect the brothers and sisters in that environment at the time, which was very hostile racial climate in Indiana. And so, again, the motto of Kappa is fundamental achievement in every field of human endeavor, and we continue to live by that in every element of our life.
Thank you.
Did I cover everything?
You did.
No doubt.
Yes, you
This
did.
is what Newts do. This
Yes,
is what Newts do.
you
We
did.
overachieve in everything. No doubt. And we can still talk about this later, okay?
All right.
No doubt.
Omega Sci-Fi.
It was a Friday, November 17th, 1911, on the campus of Howard University. There were extenuating circumstances. There was thunder, there was lightning, there was wind, and there was rain. But that didn't stop 3 undergraduates with their faculty advisor. Those 3 undergraduates, Frank Coleman, Oscar James Cooper, Edgar Amos Love, and their faculty advisor, Ernest Everett Just, from finding the first fraternity on a predominantly Black college campus, Howard University. And it's the only organization founded on friendship. And our motto is friendship is essential to the soul.
All right.
All right. And so you all understand that sometimes it takes a little practice to get to perfect. And
Go to commercial. We go into commercial break right now.
Did I
Quick.
say that, Soros?
Quick.
Did I say
Cut
it?
to commercial.
Okay. So it takes practice to make perfect. So there were 22 dynamic women who founded the dynamic women who founded Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated on January 13th, 1913. Yes. These ladies wanted to take to look at issues related to social justice. Right. They wanted to march. They wanted to get involved in a very serious way. And so our serious sisters founded Delta Sigma Theta on Howard University's campus in 1913.
22 of them.
And they marched.
Yes, they did.
Did
March
they?
13th, 1913. The
Absolutely.
Women's Suffrage March. We were a part of that.
Were we not?
American organization.
Absolutely.
What a Delta is, what an Alpha ain't,
What a Zeta want to be, what a Sigma can't, what an Alpha like.
All right. All right. This is why. Exactly. All right. You know what happens? You know what happens when you invite your rowdy cousins to your family reunion? Basically. Phi Beta Sigma.
So
Rick.
while several other organizations had a plethora of founders, it really only took three studious, 3 elite, collegiate educated men on the campus of Howard University. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated was founded January 9th, 1914 by, if we're going to go ahead and list them, the honorable founding brothers, Abe L. Taylor, Charles I. Brown, and L.F. Morris. Founded the organization on principles of brotherhood, scholarship, and service. And while all of the other organizations wanted to be apart from the general community, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated wanted to be a part of the general community. And in ensuring that we were being involved with all of the actions that were going on and in our organizations, but in our communities, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity still represents that motto, culture for service and service for humanity. Blue Phi.
All right.
Mic drop.
That's just beautiful.
But it didn't stop there.
Zeta Phi Beta.
Say it one more time.
Yes.
Zeta Phi Beta.
The Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated
Get it, girl.
was founded on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. on January 16th, 1920 by 5 fabulous, beautiful women who we call our 5 pearls. We, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and the brothers of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated are the only
The one and only.
They can say all night.
constitutionally bound organizations. These are my brothers. Hello. So while others like to pretend,
Say it again.
pretend we have that true unity. So Zeta Phi Beta was founded with the principles of scholarship.
We need to
service,
revisit our
sisterly
bylaws,
love,
y'all.
and finer womanhood. I love it.
Sigma Gamma Rho.
Can you say it again, please?
Sigma Gamma Rho.
The sophisticated, sexy ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated was founded on the campus of Butler University on November 12th, 1922 by 7 school teachers. Our principles are sisterhood, scholarship, and service, and that's why our motto is greater service, greater progress.
Right. And last but not least,
See, we can keep it simple and still be
and be so panhellenic. Yes, I'm giving the Deltas the side eye. The shade, honey. It's the shade at night. The shade at night. And last but not least, Iota Phi Theta.
There we go. Oh. So, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, founded in the struggle in 1963, September 19th, at Morgan State College, which is now Morgan State University, by 12 noble men. Our motto, building a tradition, not resting upon one.
Well, all right. So the first question I have for the panel is, why did you pledge? Why did you pledge? Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Miss Nouveau of SS Renewed, reaching every new endeavor with extreme dedication. The reason why I pledged, as an only child and someone who was interested in education, I thought it was important to join an organization that embodied the same beliefs that I had. And so when I got to the campus of the University of Illinois, those women ran the yard and they were well respected and they did the most work. And I'm like, this is who I am. And so from that point on, 22 years, been active in financial, doing good in the hood. Thank you.
I feel you on that. And for me, like, community service was very important. My mother pledged at Fisk University. She was Pi chapter at Fisk University. She also was one of the charter members of the Meharry chapter. My mom is a dentist. I love you, mommy. And that would just set an example for me. I remember being at her chapter meetings as a young girl, running through the luncheons with my girl Christina, and I just knew that was something that I wanted to be. It was the community service. It was also the giving back, and you cannot underestimate the power of the networking. And I think the networking as an adult in a sorority or a fraternity is unmatched, which has been phenomenal for me, just both personally and professionally. Anybody else?
You know, I'll answer and then pass it on down to my brother and with a cane. So just much like you, Dana, I had my mother was involved in an organization, but while we're talking about the Greek organizations, I'm gonna put it down. My family was involved in the Masonic order and I'm not standing up. They were involved in. My mother was involved in the Masonic order. My mother, and my grandmother, and my grandfather were both Masonic and Eastern Star. Excuse me. So it was important to me to be a part of an organization that had fellowship between both a fraternal order and a sister organization. So when I got on campus at Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville, it was important to be a part of an organization that wasn't just doing community service, but had a bit of a family network and value. And for me, because of that role model that was set from my elders and my family, Phi Beta Sigma and Zeta Phi Beta represented what I had been used to, what I had seen, and what they were doing on campus. Although they weren't the largest organization like the Men of Alpha Phi Alpha were at that time, they were highest GPA. They were still giving back to the community. And we became the line that brought that organization back on the campus. And sorry to the iPi brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, but we stole the step show from them too, and kept that a couple of years too. But that was important for me, and that's why I joined the organization that I joined.
So much shade at night in these Greek streets. Leslie?
So I was introduced to Delta Sigma Theta really as a high school student. Two of my counselors were Deltas, and the kind of sisterhood they had amongst each other was something that I thought was great. And the way that they helped us all really showed a real commitment toward giving back. I'm also an only child and an only grandchild, so I didn't have sisters. And so when I went to the University of Iowa, I already had an idea in my mind that Delta Sigma Theta would be the sorority that I would choose. But then when I got there, it was abundantly clear because the Deltas were running the show and doing the most, and was just a great organization. And so that was when I first got introduced to Delta, and it's been wonderful ever since.
Awesome. Tiffany?
Yeah, so I'm really fresh coming off of a trip to Dominican Republic, celebrating 20 years with my 21 sorors. There's 35 of us, but 21 of us traveled to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And so if I forgot why I pledged, I was reminded over the course of this trip. So it really was about sisterhood. And my line sister, who's an amazing journalist in Florida, on her post on Facebook, she said, we slayed, we played, we prayed, we served. And I think that captured it. I mean, we had fun. We prayed. We had a very spiritual, enlightening experience. We played. We had a really good time together. We served. We adopted an orphanage in Dominican Republic. So for me, it was really about coming together with other like-minded women with a common purpose around serving our community, but really having a larger platform to serve in a larger way, really to be able to serve more, serve at a greater level, and have a group of women that I wouldn't normally have necessarily come across and met and crossed paths with. And now we're the best of friends, and we may not talk all the time, but when we come together, we have a common sense of purpose. And for me also, it was about changing the trajectory of my family history. Nobody in my family had pledged before. And I want to change the course for my kids. And so my daughter's 2, but she already knows what time it is. So we've already been talking about what she's going to do. And I love the idea of legacy. And I want to create a different legacy for my family.
I buy her daughter all the pink stuff I can.
Yeah, she won't be wearing it. Yeah,
just to remind her what Auntie's all about.
We look good in any color, but she absolutely, yes, we know it's that.
Mel, why did you pledge?
A lot of folks
This is
said it
Dana
already.
being. I'm hosting this.
You got
I'm
it.
asking you.
I just didn't want
I'm
to
asking
repeat.
you the question.
I felt
Mel used to be my boss.
So I felt that everybody kind of captured. I remember I went to Smokers. That's what we called them back then, right? I know they have a different name now. And so I went to the Smokers, and you kind of knew exactly what you were going to do once you went there, but you still went to the other ones anyway, just out of respect. And so I knew, what I was going to do. When I looked at this organization, I looked at what they were doing, not only in the U.S., but internationally. And when I looked at the history of the organization, which I'm sure many of you did as well, that is the thing that hit me. And when you go and you see these guys and they're 60 and 70 years old and they're still involved, same for men, I'm sure the women say the same thing, you want to figure out what is it that got you so motivated to continue this for your life. And when I studied the history, I knew, right? And so you got to understand, when we went through it back then, it was all about turn back. So you had to really want to do it. And so I knew exactly. When I looked at that model, I said, that's a benchmark that I can live my life against. And that's exactly why I pledged.
That's awesome. And one thing I want to say, and Terry, you're gonna close this out, but you're never too old to pledge. I saw something on social media about Are you too old? I'm in my 40s. This is something I've always wanted to do. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out before, but it's never too late. I think that, graduate chapters are taking lines, and I don't care if you're 45, 50, 60, 70. If this is what you want to do, if you want to be a part of the sisterhood or the brotherhood, I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to get connected with whatever chapter you're interested in, because I think it is a very life-changing experience. And the immediate sisterhood and brotherhood is unsurpassed. So think about that. Keep that in mind. Terry, why did you pledge?
Well, I think it was a given when I got to Spelman. Sweet Mu Pi. No, in all seriousness, everything about the Mu Pi chapter was just special to me. And so, growing up within a family that had a ton of AKAs, I kind of knew that was the direction that I wanted to go. But Mu Pi, and to my Clark Atlanta Delta sister over here as well, Greek life in the CAU Spelman Morehouse environment was a really big deal. And so for me, and I was active in Bonner Scholars. I was already kind of doing the community service deal. But for me, all of the women that I looked up to were AKAs. And although they gave me a hard time in the beginning, getting to know them, it allowed me to really kind of understand that they were doing the things that I wanted to do at that point. So for me, that sisterhood was kind of a given when I got on campus, that's what I wanted to do. But I think, and similar to what you're saying, when we went back for 20 years, we had lost touch, right? I mean, I think it's natural that you're not going to necessarily keep in touch with all of your line sisters, but immediately when you get back, you connect, and it's like you've never lost each other.
You pick up right where you left off, which is amazing. Raise your hand if you pledged on a historically black college campus. Historically black college campus. Can you talk about what some of the differences are? Like what your experience was like being on a black campus versus a predominantly white institution? Yeah, we can say it. You can curse. We just won't be on iHeartRadio. No, but I think they're different, and I do think being on a and I was at Spelman, so I was at a historically black college. I think it's very competitive. But I also think that when you are at a predominantly white institution, my assumption is that you come together in a different way because you're at a predominantly white institution.
So you want to talk about PWI?
Sure, go ahead, girl.
Since y'all got your HBCUs, we have to figure out an acronym. PWI.
Absolutely.
So I'm a legacy, actually. So in terms of why I pledged, everyone in my family was an SU row. So there was no other. So as you're grooming your daughters, I don't have any to groom. I have sons, so hopefully there'll be a Phi Beta Sigma man.
There's no hope.
But for me, on the campus of 42,000 at the time, there was 1% blacks. So that's about 400. And in my particular major, I was an engineering major. I was the only black female within the College of Engineering. So it was very sobering and very lonely. So I really leaned towards the Black Greek life to help me survive in an institution like that. So we had parties every Saturday. Everyone came together. We did community service projects because there's probably only 40 Greeks on the entire campus, BGLs. So it was very much more of a unity than trying to be competitive against each other.
So I had a really similar experience to you, Leslie. Lynn, sorry. I'm looking at Lynn, calling her Leslie. I was born in Los Angeles and had a huge family, lots of cousins. And my father got transferred to Illinois when I was very young. And from then on, my whole childhood experience was PWI. So my sister and I were the only two black people in the entire school. And so, I went from elementary school into high school. The only black people we ever saw were at church. And so for me, going to U of I in Champaign, predominantly, PWI, it was really important to me to have that, connection, to have that black experience. And so that was a huge part of why I decided that I wanted to pledge. because it gave me that sense of family and home.
Okay. Raise your hand if you pledged in college, the undergrad experience. And so I do think that the undergrad experience is a bit different from the graduate experience. Does anybody want to comment on that? No. Go ahead.
Well, I know. I'll just say, it ranks in the top 3 hardest things I've ever done in my life. Outside of carrying twins at 40, I mean, I just remember being on the yard and wearing the wrong shade of a different color, too close to pink, too close to blue. And they'll just be like, oh, don't even worry about it. Don't come to nothing else. You'll never be there. And so I just remember thinking I'll never be a Delta. I couldn't get it right. I always felt like I was just messing up. And so I think that it was very competitive, and it was, but the thing I love about it, again, I'm celebrating my 20-year Delta reunion. I'm celebrating my 20 year because I pledged as a senior. And so I'm celebrating my 20-year college reunion, but I get to go back to the campus that I pledged at and that I graduated from. And those two really are merged. And so so it makes it so much more special because it's about the sorority, it's about the college, it's about the chapter, and there's so much history. We're chartered with a single letter chapter, Sigma chapter, the oldest chapter in the Southern region. So I'm not going to go into all that about how amazing Sigma chapter is, but we were amazing. So I think it was, it made it really special, not just about the sorority, but also about the college. And about the line, and I'm not saying, pledging grad chapter, you don't have a bond with your line, but I will say that we had a bond. And, obviously we just celebrate our 20-year, 21 of us out of 35, 20 years later. I think that's a good sign that we stay connected over the years.
Yes, the undergraduate experience for me was a great one. I would never trade it for anything. You have the opportunity to I guess be a role model for other people when you pledge undergrad, because you're held accountable by your chapter brothers. You're held accountable by everyone on the campus to see how you can carry yourself in public, how you can carry yourself in dealing with your studies. Q's were known for partying, and we did that. But we held the highest GPA of all the Greek letter organizations on the yard, my line. Yeah, we won the NAACP Image Award. I mean, but we handled business, but you were held accountable for when you messed up by the older brothers in your chapter, because you don't want your chapter to get snatched. So it's a big difference when you're undergraduate. You can't just walk away from your responsibilities and your oath, basically, to be there and participate in all the activities.
Okay. So, all right. Beyond all the serious stuff, we had a hell of a time.
All right.
So let's just start there.
All right. Absolutely.
The other thing we got to be honest about. So, for instance, that process or the fact of pledging or whatever it may be, the fact is you living with those people a lot, depending on your process, right? So they become closer to you than your own family. Many of us will say that. Next, the fact that you have this room together like this, when you have that undergraduate experience, this is something that you get when you have all these organizations together. They're your friends. I've got friends that are Qs, that are alphas, that are sigmas, different sororities, because we were all. When I
Cornelius,
I didn't mean to exclude them. I'm just.
Here we go.
When I was made, there weren't, we didn't have any IOTAs around a lot, so that's why it's good to see you.
But they're in the building.
The
IOTAs are in the building
right,
tonight,
everybody.
everybody. Yes.
Woo! Right. So it's good. It's good. I was
Why IOTA?
see IOTAs because we didn't see it when we were pledging, right? So but also this is what's unique about the undergraduate experience, right? That you have other fraternities, that are your friends. And by the way, when you talk about, the excellence, that was everyone, by the way, right? Because that was expected of all of us. That's the shared thing we all have, especially when you look at the history. And that's the other beautiful thing, depending on your campus, right? So that's what really makes that undergraduate experience so unique.
And that's one of the things that's required with respect to sorority and fraternity pledging for Black Greeks is that you have to maintain a certain GPA, a certain academic standard to even be eligible to pledge. There's a lot of differences when it comes to sororities and fraternities with Black Greeks and white Greeks. Does anybody want to talk about what some of the differences are, perhaps in their own undergraduate experience or just in general?
So I too pledged at a PWI. And what was interesting for me was the wow factor that the predominantly white Greek organizations had with the MPHC. And so there was a lot of crossing over, meaning we programmed together, we did community service together. And so we were in a very cooperative state. But the difference is that they didn't understand that this was a lifetime decision.
Right.
And so for us, we talked about our future and what we would do after school, and they all focused on how they could be impactful in school. And so that was a very big difference between the PHC, IFC organizations and the MPHC for us.
I think that's one of the biggest differences between Black Greek life and white Greek life is that the Black Greek life is a lifetime commitment. So when people are in their collegiate experience or even in their graduate experience, they're signing up for a lifetime of service and everything else that being Greek represents. Whereas I think the focus more so in some of the white Greek sororities and fraternities is much more focused on those 4 years. Many rushes for white sororities and fraternities tend to be in that freshman year for that very reason, because they want to maximize the 4 years while you are in the collegiate experience. Whereas with Black Greek life, many sororities and fraternities and chapters won't let you pledge as freshmen. They need you to figure out your life first. Then you can become eligible because you've demonstrated academic excellence and achievement. Exactly. They see you, you see them, and they understand who you are when it comes to your pledging and your lifetime commitment. Unless you're exceptional.
Come on,
and you pledge
every now and then it does happen.
As a freshman. So let's talk about hazing. Just kidding. Next question.
I was going to say pledging too. Like, what is that about?
I want to talk about what it means to be married to another Greek. And we've got 2 couples, 4 people here who happen to be married to somebody. And I think there's other people here who are married to Greeks, but they're not in the building tonight. But I want to talk about what it's like to be married to a Greek. So I want to hear first about what it means to have Coleman love in these Greek streets.
Well, that's what we have.
What is that? Can you explain that?
So Edna Brown Coleman.
It's romance. It's romance up in these Greek streets. It's romance up in here, y'all.
So when you hear Coleman love, that just means one of our founders was Edna Brown Coleman, who was married to
Frank Coleman.
Frank Coleman. So that's when you hear Coleman love. That's because there was a real love connection. Maybe not constitutional, but love connection. Okay, so they laid the foundation for the real, for the real connection. But so actually, I met my beloved in college. We were in graduate school, and really it was because of a Delta potluck that he came to looking for me.
Looking for you.
Because he knew he had heard about me. We have common friends, and they said she's a Delta. He came to the potluck and he found me.
He found you.
I was stalking him.
And really, and from there, the rest is history. I mean, we were in school together, and that just blossomed and grew. The one thing I would say about being married to somebody who is a part of another Greek organization is that you understand the connection that they have with their organization and what they are willing to do for their sorors or for their bros. And so even though sometimes it might be late and I might be like, where are you? I'm with the bros.
I'm with Ray.
I'm with Ray. You know,
Out there being excellent, achieving, reading books and stuff.
Or if one of my sorors calls in the middle of the night and says, come, there's no questions asked. There's an understanding that means something. And so, that's what I think makes it special, because there's an understanding that we both have, that not that the organization comes before our marriage or our family, but that those people and those people who are close to us are a part of it. And so we do for them what we would do for our brothers and sisters.
All right.
So,
and let me just say one quick. And another thing is that we have kind of a friendly competition. So when we were on the yard together as grad students, the Qs hadn't stepped in the step show for a number of years. So I heard her on the phone talking to one of her sorors, and overheard her say, the Omegas ain't gonna step. And I turned around and said, what? And I'm telling you, we put a hop show together in a week and won the competition. But there's that friendly rivalry that we have. Even though she pledged before me, I always tell her I was a life member before you. So there's that give and take, that understanding. And the kids, our kids really watch our Greek life together. So that's special.
I think kids are always watching, and it's so cute to see the kids seeing what we do, seeing how we pledge, seeing all of our Nelia and all that stuff, and trying to emulate that.
So just but
not to be outdone with all this Coleman love.
We got the Sigma love over here. So we actually met through Panhandle. I was the Panhandle president for the alumni chapter here in Chicago. And Mr. Charles here would sit in the back of my meetings making fun of me while I'm trying to preside over the meeting.
Girl, just trying to get your attention.
He's just trying to get my attention. So
it worked.
It worked. So I would say the thing that helps us is that we were bound by service to our communities, and we live that through our lives now. Charles is heavily involved with his Sigma Beta, which is a mentoring group through Phi Beta Sigma. We're both life members of our organization, both still financial, both very active. So similar to what Leslie was saying, when the call comes, it's not like, where you going? But we understand that. But we also have instilled that in our sons, that as part of being a Black man, you have to give back to our community. So yes.
Yeah. So, Sigma Betas will be just real brief. It's just our youth affiliate mentoring program. So myself, as well as quite a bit of other brothers from our chapter, we get together every month and mentor our young youth, because it's important for us to give back to our community, and more importantly, to help others, right? To go beyond where we're at, because that's really important to us, right? So that's just our mentoring. As far as what can I say? It's all about, I love this woman, right? Found her at NPHC. Started out as a friendship, and it's blossomed from there. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
these are some of my favorite couples right here.
That's right.
And they just happen to be Greek. Is anybody else married to a Greek? Other people are married to Greeks too. So there's plenty of Greek love. If you want to pledge, it's a great way to meet somebody out in these Greek streets. I'm just saying. Reflecting on when you pledged versus where you are at now, what is the experience like for you, like in hindsight? Do you regret your decision? But what are some of your thoughts about, reflective of your pledging experience?
Can I just say one thing before we get in trouble too, because this is where my break it down comes from.
All right, break it down. Break it down.
So for those that, I think all of our organizations don't do pledging anymore. It may be a process. So for those that are, trying to be proper, we don't want to keep saying that we're pledging, and then it insinuates hazing or other things. Which
I don't even know what's that mean.
Where that is?
Where they do that at? Anybody else want to
Well,
talk about
you know what?
reflecting?
I'll say this.
What you thought it was versus what it is now.
I'll pass it on back, but I'll say this as it's going back. I'm sure that anybody else, if you were part of an organization that has a dynamic intake process, it was as my Delta sister over there said, it was a difficult time period, right? It was some hardship. Probably one of the top 3 hardest things ever done. In fact, 10 weeks of an intake process was long, but I will say that I got off easy. Okay, right. Well, it was 2000, but I will say that, and I'm sure I agree with most would agree with me here. It's a decision that I don't regret, and I don't know if I'd do it over again, but I am glad that I did it. And there's nothing irrefutable about that. These are all great organizations to be a part of, and that built character, that built stamina, that built relationships, and it's something that all of us in our community, especially why our organizations were founded, needed to represent what we represent in our communities.
You want to say something?
Yes. I would not change my decision ever to have had the process of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and be a member in my chapter, Mu Pi, when we got together, or thinking about and reflecting on our 20 years and everything that we went through on campus, and just our struggles and our good times and our bad times. They all made us into who we are today, and I value that so much. And just thinking through of everything that we went through, as well as who we are now. I wouldn't take it back. I think that it just built us, and now we have so much to think about and share and reflect on and appreciate. And 20 years just kind of brought it all back again.
Absolutely. Cornelius?
Yeah, for me, on the campus of Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, I would not change it. I always look back on my time there and the things that those brothers instilled in me, because I took a lot of things from those men around there. A lot of them were older than me. So, a lot of times it wasn't always about partying. It was always about, hey, let me give you a word of advice. Let me give you some understanding, to help better you as a man, which a lot of those things did stick with me. And also moving forward, it also was one of those things that made me say, you know what, I want to continue to work for my organization. So after, undergraduate came grad. So that's, I went on ahead and persisted and said, you know what, hey, I want to go ahead and make my organization the best organization it is. And the only way to do that is to get active and to be involved.
Absolutely. Jamil?
So no, I would not change my decision or do anything different, but it's just that you have a network of men who will always go with bat for you, no matter what it is. And I just remember when I expressed my interest, this guy gave me circumstances of the people he wanted. And he basically said, I want someone that's going to get up at 3:00 in the morning, who's in a comfortable situation, to come get me if I call for help. And for 19 years now, I've had that network of people that I can make that call to. And those are all the things that we value. These people are, like most people said today, they become closer than your family. They'll call you just to see what's going on. Like, I ain't heard from you in a while. What's going on? You say, I'm trying to move to here, or can you help me with a job? They're like, I got you. And those are the things that you can't get anywhere else.
Can I just add, I think one, I know we've got a lot of time, but we have a line sister whose father just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She called me this week. And when she called me, I was able to tap into my network from Northwestern, from Kellogg, right? Nice. So I was able to call the director of the medical group at Rush because of the connection that I have with him through something else. So in addition to the fact that you got your line sisters and you got your network, they're able to tap into your network that is outside of that organization. And I think that's what makes it beautiful for all of us here, because we're all connected.
That's absolutely right. I think the network is unparalleled. So it's never too late for you to pledge. Chris, are you there? Chris?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So we've got a big announcement. I hope everybody has shared the show, because I think the show is very important. And this is the biggest part of the night, what we're sharing tonight. Chris, do you want to talk about the Homecoming Challenge?
So the Homecoming Challenge is anything that I've already talked about tonight. You mentioned networking and reaching out. with the homecoming challenges, it started with the spirit of homecoming, going back to your college. I went to Morehouse College, so going back to the HBCU. And at this point, being the old head on campus and walking around to the dorms, taking children to the old dorms, I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if you established a connection with the current students by just giving them something, giving them some cash money so they can go eat out, they can do their laundry, do whatever. And shared that idea with Dana. And of course, she took it to astronomical levels and included, sharing your business card, sharing your network. And that allows the alumni to get a direct connection with the current students. So since homecoming of last fall, we launched the website homecomingchallenge.com, and we like to extend it to everyone, whether it's a HBCU or not. When you go back to your campus, reach out to the bros in your chapter, or reach out, in the HBCU world, going back to your freshman dorm or any dorms that you stay on as major. But when you go back to your campus, go back to those things you were involved with, and just drop some jewels or some cash on those kids and those students that are going through what we went through when we pledged on campus.
www.homecomingchallenge.com. That's the project that Chris and I have been working on. That's our big reveal. We've been working on that since homecoming. We revealed it on our homecoming show, which was in October. And that was the biggest show on Dana Being Dana. We reached so many students that over at homecoming, Jason and Terry both participated in the homecoming challenge at their schools. And you guys want to briefly tell us, what that experience was like for you.
The homecoming challenge experience was really transformative for me. I was able to go on campus to William Jefferson Whitehall, my freshman dorm. And although my dorm room is not there anymore, I was able to interact with a young brother, and I was able actually to bring my son. And he was able to see me giving back to the students on campus. And hopefully one day when he attends Morehouse College, he'll be able to do the same. And it was by far the most liked post that I've ever had on Facebook, more than pictures of my kids. So people apparently like the homecoming challenge more than my kids. So, but it was a really great experience, and I'm looking forward to doing it every time I go back down to Morehouse.
And I think that that's just so important. So please share the show, the website, www.homecomingchallenge.com. Please register. We're collecting information of people who are willing to do the homecoming challenge. We're going to be reaching out to you. We're going to be giving you some guidance and prompting you when you go back to school, when you go back to campus, whether it's homecoming, graduation, you're just visiting, you're taking your kids, you're picking up your kids, you're rolling through. Take the homecoming challenge. Swing by your freshman dorm. I don't care if your dorm is a library now, it's a parking lot, somebody's not there anymore. It's any student at your school. Drop some knowledge, drop some wisdom. Campus hunger is a thing. There are food pantries popping up on undergraduate campuses because students are not able to make ends meet. And when they're having food insecurity, when is it happening? It's during finals time, because they're running out of money before the semester's over. You can make a huge difference in someone's life. Please share this show. Please register on the site. This is the first of several shows we're going to be doing on Dana Being Dana to address not only campus hunger, but mentoring, relationships, and all of those things. So I just want to thank my friends. I just appreciate you all showing up for me, showing up for Chris, showing up for this show, showing up for your sorority or fraternity. I'm just playing. But being a part of this movement. I think it's just so important. And what people don't realize is that we laugh and we joke and we clown each other and things like that. But at the end of the day, we're all one. We are all one people. When the police pull us over, they're not asking for the AKAs to get out the car. And so at the end of the day, like it's that networking that is so, so important. So I just want to thank each and every one of you, because y'all been riding with me. I sent y'all the message about this months ago, and I have been on it, and I have been on y'all. And I just appreciate you all for just being my friends, for showing up, for representing, because I think this movement is so important. I think we're going to help so many students. And I just look forward to all that is to come with the Homecoming Challenge. Thank you, Chris, so much for being here.
Thanks, Chris.
Buy some t-shirts. Amazing. Fantastic. He's so excited. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for sharing the show. Next week on Dana Being Dana, we are talking about lupus. May is Lupus Awareness Month, and we're going to bring a lot of awareness to lupus, and we're going to be talking about that. So thank you all so much for tuning in. God bless you. Good night.